start at the beginning where when you first went to the service.
Went 2 weeks before we did. We was the last of the 82nd that left the United States, half of it. And my company landed at Casablanca in Africa. And so anyway, I seen action all through North Africa, but I wasn't in no battle. You know, was following up.
Following up.
Yeah. And then at Tunis, when we got to Tunis, we all got, the whole division got together to invade Italy. You know.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Let's kind of start from the beginning. And your name is.
Say your name.
Say your name. What's your name? What's your name?
What's my name?
Yes, sir.
Reuben Odle.
Reuben Odle. And you were born when?
When were you born?
March the 5th, 1919.
1919. Where were you born?
Head of Sweetwater.
Sweetwater, in Wayne County.
Yeah.
I've noticed, all the Wayne County boys, we just say where you was born. It don't,
That's right.
We've had Sunken Creek.
Right.
I'm getting a geography lesson in this
absolutely.
too.
You were born March 15th, weren't you? Weren't you born March 15th? March 15th?
Yeah.
So you are 97 or 8?
98.
You're 98 years old.
98, yeah.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
No, I drafted.
You was drafted?
I mean, well, I would have volunteered and went, but they said I'd have to take a year's training here in the United States before I went overseas.
Right.
So that didn't suit me.
It didn't suit you. You don't want to go through the training?
Yeah. But we had 13 weeks training in Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, and they formed the whole division there. And so some general wanted to make airborne out of it. Well, there were 16,000 men in the 82nd. So he said, if you make a airborne division out of it, you got to get rid of half of them. That's where the Jeep chase got its name. And he said, well, we just start sending them out to other divisions. And he said, you can't do that. You send your number one man out. You got to weed them out. Got to weed them out. And that's where Jeep chases started.
Really?
Yeah.
So you went to training in Louisiana?
Yeah.
And you were in the 82nd Airborne?
Yeah. And then we went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and taking glider training and this and that, you know.
When did you ship out for overseas? When did you ship out for overseas?
Oh, Lord, I don't know that.
Well, when did you leave Fort Bragg?
But I remember seeing the Statue of Liberty, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Left the harbor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what you were thinking when you went by the Statue of Liberty?
No. Not then, I don't think.
Yeah. So where did y'all land when you first got into Europe?
Got into overseas?
Yeah.
Casablanca.
Casablanca,
In Africa.
in North Africa.
North Africa. Yeah.
All right. Where did you see your first action?
I guess it's Salerno, Italy.
In Italy.
But yeah, we were guarding. My company was guarding a big airport in North Africa. German planes coming in, just like clock ticking, load up with bombs and go again. You know, this bomb in Germany. You know, cutting off the supply line.
Cutting off the supply line to
Yeah.
that would have been Rommel.
Huh?
You would have been up against Rommel
Yeah.
in North Africa.
Yeah.
You know, there's an urban legend that Rommel came to Clifton before the war and studied Nathan Bedford Forrest and stayed at the hotel. There in Clifton and studied. He didn't like Hitler. He had a job to do. He knew he was a general, but they say he came to Clifton and studied the trail of Nathan Bedford Forrest and based most of his tactics on Forrest, our generals. But that makes sense. Patton studied him.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so, do you remember which generals did you serve under?
General?
You remember?
No, not really. I mean, of course, the 82nd had a younger general, and we were attached to Mark Clark's Fifth Army for a month, I guess, or something. That, of course, that was in the mountains of Italy. But then they relieved it. But actually, we never was attached to no army at all. But General Ridgway and Omar Bradley, and them. Omar Bradley one taught me how to shoot a pistol.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Omar Bradley. Now that's something good. That's something to hear. General Omar Bradley. All the tanks are named after him now. Bradley fighting vehicles, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so you were in Italy. You saw your first real action in Italy.
Yeah.
What was that? What was
Some of the first battalion.
what was that like?
But in North Africa, we could hear the war going on, guns and things, but I never was in it. We was keeping the enemy away from the airport, trying to.
And at this
Well,
time, you were about what, 19, I guess? You were very young at this time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you were born in 1919, that's 1942. You was 23. You was
Yeah.
in your early 20s.
Yeah.
So when you got into Italy, that's where you saw your first real action.
Yeah, that's the first thing. And Ananias Slade, born and raised on Factory Creek, he was in with us. He made sergeant while we was up in the mountains in Italy, and I made squad leader.
What was his name?
And that's as far as I got.
Who was it?
Who was it from? Did you say Factory Creek?
Huh?
Who was the fellow from Factory Creek?
Ananias Slade.
Ananias Slade.
His daddy run a
Lay,
store.
L-A-Y.
on
L-A-Y.
Factory Creek. And his brother run a peddling drug.
Huh?
Yeah, he made it through.
He made it through.
And I used to go up at Etheridge and see him a lot, after.
Hmm. So when you guys were in Italy, you saw your first hard battles there, right?
Yeah, that's the first battle I seen at Salerno, Italy.
Salerno.
Yeah, foot of the mountains in Salerno.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
But at that time, I don't guess you were taking in the scenery too much.
Well, the worst thing that we were in was the gliders. That's like suicide.
Oh, you were in the gliders?
Yeah, I was in the gliders.
Yes.
Oh,
From England now.
oh, but my brother Blake would love this stuff.
Oh, yes. Oh, you
Oh.
should hear him tell about being dropped out of the
Oh,
gliders.
tell us all about. I want to know about the gliders. Tell me about the gliders. How they?
You were in the glider battalion, right?
Yeah, well, actually, we're taking training to help other divisions. I know one time up in France, we were on the front lines and the captain pulled us off. That pulled my company off anyway. And they said, we gotta go 12 miles. The Germans got a rifle company pinned down and they can't advance. But the other lines was advancing on each side of it. Well, we went, helped them. We went and helped them out. So that's why we're taking glider training. You'd think if a glider was sitting out there loaded with a jeep and a trailer and ammunition and 2 heavy caliber machine guns. We had heavy caliber machine guns. And a plane come over and hook it in the rope, you think it just jerk a fool out of it. But you never would hardly feel nothing. The plane had done way up there and the rope was stretching and that glider just eased off just as easy. First thing you know, leave the ground.
What was it? But okay, now what was it like landing?
A lot of people don't understand how big a glider was.
How big were they?
Well, you'd have to be big to carry a jeep and a trailer and 17 soldiers and have all equipment and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to be big.
What? Well, you talk about the takeoff. Now, what about that landing?
About landing,
Yeah.
well, they can land anywhere. After they left the ground, the wheels dropped off of it. Yeah, automatic, you know,
Wow.
and it just scooted. And when they invaded, when they invaded, I think I placed correctly. Oh,
Was it at Angel Beachhead?
Huh?
Didn't they drop y'all out of glider? Was it Normandy? Where did they drop you out of glider?
It was in Normandy.
but anyway, when they invaded this place, I was in the third glider, and I was always in the first battalion, first team, and everything. And anything come up that always called on me to help, you know. And that's the reason I got, I reckon, 3 silver stars. But anyway, they told us on the big airport in England, there's 5-acre fields in the place in landing. And any place to land, okay. But now, see, a glider could land on my driveway up there, but it wouldn't go far from here to my mailbox. It stopped, you see. But you had to think about, you up in the air a half a mile high, and no motor, no parachutes, or no nothing. You're just up there. But you could sail a long way. I'm gonna say you could sail 2 miles before you had to land, you know.
Papa, is that when you got your foot hurt
Yeah.
or whatever? What
Yeah.
happened then?
I was in the second glider that landed. No, third glider. Well, I was trying to think of the place. But anyway, there's just small fields up there, and the roads is built up. It's low country. I can't think of the place now. But anyway, there's 2 gliders done landed, and the wings was about too far apart. The glider I was in then, he said, well, there ain't no place to land, so we just landed between them wings. Tore up 3 gliders up there. The one I was on hit the hedgerow and stood up right just like that.
Ooh.
And I crawled out a little old door, and I hollered and told the guy, I said, throw me the tripod down. They were shooting at us too, you know. And so he dropped it. He dropped the tripod and hit me across there. Heavy tripod for a 50 caliber machine gun. And so he finally dropped the bridge, and we got it set up, and the captain said, well, you can't stay here. Said, you take 6 men and go somewhere else. And he told other platoon guys the same thing. So we had to stay hid in daytime and prowled at night. And so we done our dirty work at night. But now, the next day, any glider that was safe and didn't tear up, they picked it up, carried it back somewhere, you know. Yeah. But anyway, we had to stay here in daytime.
What did you do about your foot?
Huh?
What did you do about your hurt foot?
Oh, well, I thought I just bruised it. I didn't think I broke it. And so, about 2 weeks, I run up on a medic, and I told him, I said, I want you to look at my foot. And he said, well, pull your boot and sock off. I pulled it off, and he looked at my foot, examined, he said, there ain't a thing you can do about it. It's done to grow back. So, I've had trouble with it ever since.
And this was in Italy.
No,
Normandy.
I think it was in Normandy. Was it in Normandy, Papa?
No,
Are you sure?
no, that was in well, I can't think of that place. Let's see, we had France and
He was at D-Day.
Yes.
He was at D-Day, Normandy, France.
it kind of sounded like this place, it wasn't no real large place, but I know people used to come from there to the United States. But anyway,
What about on, Papa, what about on D-Day? Where were
What-
you
what-
at on D-Day?
Yeah, so let's move on to D-Day, I guess.
D-Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Invasion of Normandy. In Invasion of Normandy, you went on to what beach?
Well, it's a long story,
We got time.
but anyway, we supposed to landed in gliders 30 mile off the beach in the back, cut them off in the back. But the Germans had so many posts that, in the fields, and they tore the gliders all to pieces, killed us so, and it was called off. They loaded us on a wooden boat, and we crossed the English Channel and went back and put us in landing crafts. And my company landed at I have trouble thinking about names now,
Oh, yeah.
even people's names.
I do too. So,
Being 98.
do you remember which beach it was?
That's what I was trying to.
Okay. And then we can edit this in. This is great.
In other words.
Yeah.
Papa,
But anyway, they put us on landing crafts, and it was fixing come daylight, and the last one landed on the landing craft was the first one that had to go off, and I was the second that had to go off, and this guy, he must have been part of the 101st Glider Battalion. For they'd taken so many of the glider companies, and they couldn't land them, because the stobs are sticking in the ground. But anyway,
was it, Papa, was it Utah Beach?
Huh?
Was it Utah Beach?
Utah Beach, yeah,
Y'all landed at Utah Beach
Utah Beach,
in a landing craft.
yeah.
So you were the second one out. How did that go?
Second one off but this little guy in front of me, and he stepped off, and water come from up here on him, and he was standing on a dead soldier, and I won't never forget it. He turned around and looked up at me. I was fixing to go off still. He turned around and looked up at me, so pitiful. I won't never forget that. And he said, said, I've been a boy all my life, but said 11 seconds ago, I turned to a man. That's when he stepped off on the beach. First battle he'd ever been in, had never been in no battle. Of course, we'd been in battles before, Italy and other places. And so that's the first battle he's in. Well, I never would forget him, how he looked and everything. So I was telling her about it. She found out who he was, where he lived and everything.
Really?
His name was Henry somebody, and he was from East Tennessee, a farm boy.
Yeah.
And he made it through the war, but he died after he got back home.
A lot of people didn't make it even off that beach.
No.
So when you guys stormed the beach, what happened from there?
Yeah, well,
Weren't y'all there? It seems like you told me one time y'all were there for about 51 days. I said, it seems like you told me y'all were there for about 51 days.
Oh, that's the Anzio Beach Head.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Utah Beach was some of the fiercest fighting in World War II, wasn't it?
It was,
Utah Beachhead was some of the most fierce fighting.
at worst it was,
It was at the worst.
worst it was.
Yeah.
They like to drove us back into the Mediterranean Sea.
We lost more men right then than we've lost in Iraq and Afghanistan, all these wars combined.
Colonel Darby lost 76 Rangers on Anzio Beach Head.
were you a gunner or what were you? What kind of weapon or whatever did you?
When y'all
Was
stormed
your-
the beachhead, what were you doing? What was your job?
What was my job? A machine gunner,
You was a machine gunner.
yeah.
Hey, that 50 cal, or
Yeah.
did you have that 50
50
cal?
caliber.
Oh, you had the big one.
I got a shell there somewhere.
Yeah.
Shell.
They're big. We shot
Was
one
that
last
not
year.
heavy? How heavy? Was that not heavy? The machine gun, wasn't that heavy?
50 caliber is big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, lots of 50 caliber machine guns, heavy.
So,
Uh,
tell us a little bit about how you guys advanced up the beachhead at Utah. How did y'all advance up the beachhead? And
How did y'all
slow.
survive, especially
was
during the
slow.
day?
You,
Had
you
to
might,
hide.
you might go a little ways here, but you had to change your distance, you know, for that was too heavy. Heavy, guarded too heavy, you know, but now then, the officers kept telling us that a machine gunner in World War II, his life was only 3 minutes long. And I got to thinking here a while back, I don't never remember firing a 50 caliber machine gun 3 minutes. The German always does something to make away with it. So, anyway, I was telling you about that guy to recognize in. Well, I had 5 men, and I said, well, fellas, we got to get somewhere and get hid. For the Germans, we landed in occupied German, you know. It wasn't on the front line. It's just the country they'd taken over. Well, that night, the paratroopers, the American 82nd Airborne paratroopers, wrecked 2 trains, surprised the railings was back, and 2 boxcar loads of boots was in them, headed to the front lines. But see, the Germans never did get them.
we got them boots.
No. But anyway, there's little things happen that I won't never forget, you know. But like that guy told us, the captain said, y'all have to stay hid now, but your daytime they'll be looking for you. Said you better have to stay hid. So the second day that we was there, we were proud that night. We cut a bunch of trees down across the railroad line, this and that, and built little bridges and things. And I said, well, fellas, I see a house and a barn. I see a big hedgerow. Let's make it to the hedgerow before daylight. And we did. We made it to the hedgerow, and that thing about that far apart, we scrounged through them, and we got in there, and it's just like a duck nest. It was for drainage, you see. Well, we got in there and got settled down, and I seen a man come out of that house, and he went to the barn, had a bucket in his hand. He went to that barn, and he was going a pretty good ways. Well, when he come out of the barn, he come right straight that hedgerow. We didn't know how he knew he was in there. He come right straight that hedgerow. And I wanted around try to be the first to meet him, because I was corporal. And so anyway, when he got nearly to me, he said, "Fellers, y'all want some more milk?" And I said, "No, thank you, sir." But when he turned, I seen that orange band on his arm, and I knew right then we was safe, you know. For we had orders not to fire on a man that had orange bands around his arm, his left arm. So something like that, I never did forget it, you see. Of course, it scared us to death when we seen him coming at
Papa, do you remember when it was that you got hit by the shrapnel? Do you remember when it was you got hit by the shrapnel?
Oh, that's in Holland, yeah.
Well, I was looking in here where they sent the letter, to Ma Pearl.
Yeah.
Slightly wounded, 19, December 23rd, 19.
What about it?
Yeah, they sent her a letter saying you had been wounded.
Yeah, yeah.
Been wounded just before Christmas.
Yeah, December the 23rd. How did that happen?
How were you wounded in Holland?
Well, it wasn't bad. I was having trouble with my eyes. And so anyway, the Jeep driver brought us some material up, you know, rations and ammunition. And he said, "Odle said, why don't you get back on the Jeep with me and go back to the CP and let me put something in them eyes for tonight." Well, as soon as I got back to the CP, the first sergeant didn't even let him get out of the Jeep. Said, you got to go somewhere, help somebody, somewhere. I don't remember where he said. But anyway, he left. Of course, artillery shells was going overhead, one right behind the other. And I was standing close to me, and that fella over there, talking to the first sergeant. And he was standing right close to a deer slit trash, but where I was standing wasn't nothing to get in or nothing behind. And two soldiers were standing across an old farm road. And I heard the sergeant say, "Well, I hear one coming in low." So he started getting his slit trench, and the shell fell between me and him, exploded. Shrapnel hit him in one temple and come out the other side. And he just fell like a dog right down in his slit trench. It killed one of them boys standing across the old road. And I got shrapnel in my thigh right there. I had on a pair of OD pants, wool underwear, and a pair of khaki pants, and my OD combat pants. And I just took my knife, split them open, boy. That was really hurting. It was red hot when it hit me, see, for them clothes was all burned. I'll take my knife and gouge that thing out. It hurt, but I did. I got it out. I wish I'd saved it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saved a piece.
Let's see. You mentioned Germany, something about the
Now
winters.
You up there half a mile high in a glider and no monitor on it and a plane a pulling it, nobody, no parachute. And most all the bullets that hit that glider was at the back end, you know. And I had bullets go right by my face, right back. And some guy was telling it to, and he said, "Well, was you scared?" I said, "Well, you were so scared you didn't know whether you're scared or not."
Right.
Well, what did you think about? I mean, when you went to the Army, I mean, you left what, 8 brothers and sisters at home,
Yeah.
and I mean, and you was
Well,
just a farm
It
boy.
didn't bother me. I'd have went anyway. I mean, if I hadn't have been drafted, I'd have went anyway. I never had been nowhere where I'd been to Alabama and Arkansas. And one day I got thinking about it. We lived out over here below the Copeland Cemetery up on a hill. I never had been to Lawrenceburg. If we went, we'd have to catch a ride, you know.
So you were just enlisted just to save the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, was there any time, was there any time like like during the winters that you spent in Germany, in foxholes, was there any time that you thought that you might not come back?
No, I left my mama crying at Oso, Arkansas, and I said, Mama, I'll be back. I'll run to you. I'll be back. But I never had to give up that I might not never come back. I always hoping and hoping that I would come back, and I did.
What
But
were
I had some close calls though.
what were the worst times?
The worst time.
The worst.
Well, I started to tell you, it was a artillery battle in Holland. And then the next worst time, I guess, was at Enzo Beachhead. Up in Holland, there was an apple tree about that big, and was guarding a bridge. And being Norris from Louisiana, I had him on the gun, and there's a white hog come up there every day about 12 o'clock, eat them apples. The big old yellow apples hanging on that thing. And we dug a gun pit right out from it, about 4 foot out from it. And you could stand down in that thing and still fire the gun any way you wanted to. Well, Germans found out we was in there. They throwed artillery, they throwed mortars, they throwed everything in on us. Neither one of us ever got hit. And he was in the gun, he was sitting in the gun pit. And I was in a slit trench. There's a brick foundry right behind us where that Holland people made the brick. And that thing was tore all to pieces, and the air was just full of red dust. And that's what got in my eyes, you know. That's why I had to go back to CP that time. But that right there, and then on Enzo, I guess, was the worst that it was.
So did the 82nd, did y'all advance on into Germany?
No. We was at a rest camp, and the first sergeant come to the tent that I slept in with 4 or 5 more men, and he said, Odle, said, where's your barracks bags? And I said, they're on the front truck at the bottom. He said, how come on the bottom? I said, well, they're the first ones they load. And I said, why? What do you want to know about that for? And he said, well, the captain wants to see you up to the order room. I went up there, and he told me, he said, you're going to go home. You got 446 combat days. You got more combat days than any guy in the company. And you're going to go home. The Army got it wherever outfit. The guy that had the most combat days, they're going to let him go home on 45 days. So I left my barracks bags in a little old shed there. And he said, we're fixing to move out. I'm going to Bonn, Germany. B-O-N-N, Bonn, Germany. And said, but you won't go with us. You're going to stay here for a week. Going to be other soldiers join you. You're going to be an officer, be here with us. And you're going to go home, stay 45 days, you come back and join the outfit. We lost between Waynesboro and Chattanooga when the war ended in Germany. Bus driver pulled the bus over, and he said, boy, I said, the war's ended in Europe. Well, I come on home, stayed 45 days, and I went back to Fort McPherson, Georgia. And the guy said, when he called my name, I went up there and he said, now, here's the thing about it. You can go back overseas and join your outfit, or you can get a discharge. And I said, where's my outfit? He said, they're fixing to go to Japan. I said, I'll take a discharge. Yeah, I'll take a discharge.
Yeah.
I didn't know I want nothing to do with Japan.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there any like memories that?
Well,
Papa, do you remember, it seems like I remember you telling me about cooking a chicken in your
Oh, yeah.
helmet or something.
Cooking a chicken in the helmet. Oh, we gotta know about this.
that was in Belgium. That was
Okay.
in Belgium. A barn had been bombed down, and the back was still up on the, back was still up high, but the front of the barn, that was laying on the ground. Yeah, the shingles and everything, you know. So the end of it, you go in though. So we'd started to the front lines, and the captain said, my fellow said, we've been walking so much, said, let's just take a rest. And of course, everybody was ready to take a rest. And so me and them, two more guys, went in that old barn. And there sat some chickens up there on the roof. And I said, let's cook some chickens. It's a wonder I ain't got in trouble in the army. I take a lot of chances. But they'd agree. They got three old hens and skinned them. They didn't pick them. They skinned them, cut them up, and take the guts out of them. And I had 3 helmets sitting on rocks and had a blowtorch. We put them chickens in there and they was boiling up a storm. I got a blowtorch out of a German tank, and I had that blowtorch going. And a lieutenant ducked his head and he come in there and he said, what y'all doing? I said, cooking chicken. He said, kick it over. So I said, yes, sir. So I hesitated, you know, and he said a few words. And he went out in under there, and we done a picking him up and washed him with snow and putting them back in the helmets. And he turned around and looked back, and he said, well, Odle, I told you to kick that over. And then he said, I mean you to kick it over. So we had to dump it over again.
Well, the question is, did you ever get to eat the chickens?
No.
Oh, wait, no.
We washed them in snow, got them back in there and had them going. The captain come to the door and he said, boys, we're fixing to move out.
Sounds like me trying to eat lunch sometimes. Let's see.
Yeah, that's a wonder, that I hadn't got killed or.
Well, Papa, I remember that you had this little, it was like a little leather, I don't know, a little case or something other. And I remember you telling me that you got it and a shaving kit.
Got what?
You got that little leather thing and a shaving kit. You got it off of a soldier or something.
Oh yeah.
What was,
That's where I found that ring.
yeah, but how was it you got it? I can't remember now.
Well, they come and loaded up them dead soldiers. Just put them on a truck like that, like you're putting wood on a truck. And so I just walked off down there a little piece, and of course there was big snow on the ground, and I found this dead German. And I was kind of scared about things, for they said fix booby traps, you know. And I opened this bag, and there was a shaving kit, and I got that shaving kit, leather shaving kit. Yeah. Yeah, I still got it too.
Really? Did you ever have any interaction? Did you talk to the Germans much, or
No,
did you ever have the opportunity?
no.
I think in Italy, didn't y'all kind of make friends with some of the kids?
Oh, yeah.
In
we
Italy?
did. We
Yeah.
did.
And I think there was one time you tried to take a donkey.
Huh?
Didn't you try to take a donkey from the Africans or something?
That's North Africa.
North Africa?
That was North Africa. We was guarding that big airport. Yeah, this guy from Wisconsin, he said, I wonder how far it is over at them mountains. And I said, well, it ain't too far. And he said, let's make you go over there. And I said, well, let's wait till soon in the morning and leave, you know, while it's cooler. And so when him left, we walked all day and we run up on a bunch of Arabs, about 20 of them. And they had donkeys, and we taken 2 donkeys away from them. And I had to hold my feet up, keeping my toes straight and singing.
Y'all rode the donkeys?
I didn't want to walk to them mountains.
No.
And so it's getting late in the evening. Them mountains was just the same far as it was when we started.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh, and so I had a Tommy gun, and he had a rifle, and he's hitting that donkey with his rifle, broke the stock. And I said, Lord, you're into it now, boy. But I don't know what he told them, but they give him a new rifle. But you know what? When we got off them donkeys, them Arabs were following us. Everywhere we went that day, they followed us. The whole drove of them. But when we got off of them, they got the 2 donkeys we had, and they went back the other way.
I just wanted their donkeys back.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's see.
yeah, it's a wonder I didn't got in very big, heavy trouble, but I didn't.
What, well, we've talked about the worst times. What was the best time? What, is there anything that sticks out of your mind that you just remember as a good time?
Oh, well, you mean, now what do you mean? You mean, if it was on the front line or?
Well, just something that sticks out and you think, you know, everybody
Good
wants to talk
memories.
about a good memory. What's a good memory of World War II?
Well, I guess in Italy, when they brought us a Christmas dinner, everybody sat down and laughed and talked about everything and eat turkey and dressing. Well,
I remember one time, Papa, you said, you know, you were in a field hospital, and your company, they kept up with his bags. Your company kept up with your bag the whole time you was in that field hospital. I couldn't get over that your buddies, you know, kept up with your stuff.
oh, I don't know what it was.
I thought you said
Yeah.
they paid him backpack.
Yeah.
Can you tell me that?
I think I'm not sure.
They took his money. took his-
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Well, did you make a lot of money when you was in the,
Huh?
did you make a lot of money?
Money.
Yeah. You make a lot of money serving in the war?
Yeah.
I mean, did you make a lot of money you sent back home, or?
Well, when I first went in the Army, we got $20 a month.
$20 a month.
And then, when they made us airborne, I got $30 a month. We got the same, they paid us just like they're paying the Air Force. Yeah.
How long did you actually serve?
Huh?
How long were you in? From
Uh,
what year to what year? Do you remember?
no,
Let's see.
I
We can
think
get all
it
that
was,
in.
the,
Yeah.
the 13 weeks they're taking basic training, then I taking the ladder
42.
training at
Until
40.
45.
42, so basically 3
at
years.
Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Right. Oh, wow. The big 50s. That's a 50, all right.
Yeah.
Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Didn't some guy show you how to engrave your name on your mess kit? Didn't some guy show you how to engrave your name on your?
Oh, yeah, yeah. He'd take a
See, that
blunt
was an
knife and do it like that. Yeah, he showed me how to put them on them kits, yeah.
How did you earn your Purple Heart?
I guess when I got the shrapnel in my leg, I ain't gonna for sure. Or either that or my eyes won, you know, got shell fragment in my eyes. You know.
And you have 3 silver stars?
Yeah, two
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 silver
silver
stars.
stars.
silver
And a
stars.
Purple Heart.
Look high.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Silver Stars are over
Yeah,
there.
they over
Yeah,
there.
green one.
Yeah.
Now there's medals, from different places, and, this and that. And I don't even know what some of them's about, you know.
Right. Do you remember what you were awarded your Silver Star for?
Pardon?
What were you awarded your Silver Star for?
Well, I don't know, unless it's, I know this officer one time talked to me about, he said, he said, yeah, I know you told me that you didn't have no education, that you grew up in the Great Depression. I said, yeah, I didn't get to go to school. And he said, well, I don't know how you turned out to be such a good soldier. And, but after I made a corporal, squad leader up in the mountains of Italy, I never would tell, they give me 5 men, you know, for the gun crew. But I never would tell Sam and Joe, well, try to get through that front line yonder. I'd always go with one of them. I'd always go with one of them. So I'm going to say I saved a lot of boys' lives by telling them to take it easy. Don't just run in there like you're going to a Western movie or something. I said, trying to figure out how you're going to get in there, you know. So like one time up in France, they called on my company to go and help a rifle company that the Germans had them pinned down, and the Germans was in a big hedgerow, and this rifle company couldn't advance. So when we got there, as we were slipping up there, I run up on Alpha Gallagher at Waynesboro. And so anyway, we got up there, got so close, I seen a dead cow laying out there. Great big old cow. She was swelled up, I bet she was that high. And I stole Staley, he was from North Carolina, he was a little feller. I said, you take the breech of the 50 cal machine gun, I'll take the tripod and a belt ammunition, and you take belt ammunition. And I said, get down on your belly and try to make it that old cow. I said, don't raise up now. If you ever raise up, see them Germans in that hedgerow, they couldn't put their guns low enough to hit us, you know. For they was down in that hole, and there was that ridge up there, you know. So anyway, we made it that old cow. She swelled up about the bus and stunk. Woo-hoo. And anyway, we got there, and I set that tripod right up the end of that old cow, and he handed me the breech, and I drug it across there and got it put on there, stuck some ammunition in it, a belt ammunition in it, and I turned it on that hedgerow, and I went to mowing that stuff down, and you talk about green leaves and twigs are flying. Well, about 12 Germans run out of there, and they went the other way. They didn't come towards us, they went the other way. But anyway, I didn't try to hit them. But anyway, after it's all over with, the colonel, he come up, and he said, anybody check that old house there? And I said, no, sir, I didn't. It's just an old house, had the openings for windows and doors, wasn't no shutters or nothing, you know. So I just took that Tommy gun and pulled it, touched the trigger and it fired 3 times before it take it from me. And out come 2 Germans. Come out the door, had their hands up. One of them had a Luger pistol on him. And I went to meet him and get that Luger pistol. No, that colonel beat me to him. Yeah. Beat me to him.
Well, we've covered beginning to end and the middle.
I think that's.
I can't think. Can you think of anything else that you'd like to?
Well, there's a lot of things I could tell you if we had time, but,
Well, we'll take time in the future, but
Is there
what,
anything in particular?
what,
that you-
what's, is, you know, the thing that I guess is become important to me as we've been doing this is, you've seen the world change more than most any generation has ever.
yeah, well, see, I was all over Europe,
Right.
you know. I went plumb through North Africa, and I was at England 3 times, so, in France. I stayed 7 days and nights in Paris, France. And, well, there's a lot of good things, and there was a lot of bad things that happened. But, you know, we had orders. If you had a piece of bread left, or some meat, or anything in your muskets, always had a hole to throw it in. And if it's on the front line, it's a different thing. But we had orders not to never give no kids nothing, you know, which they were starving to death. And but I'd always give them what I had left. I had something left in my biscuit, I'd give it to the kids. I wouldn't throw it in that hole. I've seen them little kids jump off in that hole where all that food was raked out of the biscuits in there. And if they'd find something, they'd grab it and eat it, you know. You know, I got the picture of 2 little boys that I had a 50 caliber machine gun sitting up on top of a 5th story building after we taken Italy, Naples, Italy, and so them little boys had come up. They weren't allowed to come up there where the gun was, but I'd give stuff, anything I had left, I'd give it to them. And when we first hit Naples, Italy, the first thing that the young people had asked us, soap. You got soap? Soap. We wouldn't understand this, so they didn't have no soap. And now just like I was telling you about that apple tree, me and him there was there a week, and when nothing happened, and then all at once, you know, everything broke loose. They throwed everything in on us. And if it hadn't been for a British tank that night, we probably wouldn't have been here. The Germans crossed that river and a tank was in front. And sometimes that evening, we heard a racket and there was a big British tank coming up that road. And he come up there close to the bridge. And I had one 50 caliber machine gun sitting across the road, and the one Ben Norris was on, there where the apple tree was. We had it made there for a week. It sleep didn't bother us or nothing, you know. But we'd had somebody was watching the bridge all the time and let us know that it's coming across. Okay. It got dark that night, and we heard the office racket, and there were about 5 or 6 tanks coming across the bridge, German tanks. And that guy in that British tank, he told Staley, said, I can't see the aim on him. Said, you fire on him with that 50 caliber machine gun, and everywhere I see your tracer turn, that's where I'm gonna aim. And so he did. And he fired one time, and that big old German tank turned crossways the road, and others couldn't get through. Yep. Things like that happen. Yep.
Trying to
Well,
think of I can't think of anything
Yeah, I
else.
was gonna say, I can't think
But,
of anything else really.
The worst, I guess the worst thing was the Indio Beach head.
What was, when you say worst, why was it, when you say worst, why was it the worst?
Well, the Germans, them tried to run us off in the Mediterranean Sea. That's what they had in mind to do, you know. And Colonel Darby lost 76 men on the Indio Beach head.
I remember Papa saying that the soldiers were just in the water floating, you
Yeah.
know, everywhere.
I got acquainted with Colonel Darby in North Africa. Oh. Well, I was up the foot of the mountains and laying on my back in a slip trench, and I heard the awfulest roaring to my left, and I looked up. Boy, I never seen as many airplanes in my life. And they claimed there was 500 of them. There was B-26, B-25s, B-17s, and there was a bomb in German positions in his daytime. And I seen a B-26 just stop dead up in the air, never even moved, and went to floating down like a leaf. Never was a man come out of it. Ever what shrapnel hit him, hit that plane.